Hello and welcome to IELTS and ESL Expert TV. My name's Keith Mason and I'm the expert. I taught in China for 10 years, IELTS and ESL, and also I was an examiner. So I know it from both sides of the table. So I hope you're going to come along regularly and learn for these free lessons, and see you very, very, very soon in the next video. Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel, IELTS and ESL Expert TV. And I'm Keith Mason, who is your expert. So today we're going to look at part 1 of the IELTS exam. Now, part 1 of the IELTS exam will equate with lower levels of the ESL exam. So if you're doing ESL, it's just as useful for you. But we're looking at some of the questions that you'll get in the part 1 of the IELTS exam, how to answer them, and also how to prepare. So you might know or remember that I've already done a video on preparation for your IELTS exam. So how to have a positive attitude and all those sort of things. So I will leave a link in the description below to that video. But in the meantime, I'll add a few more bits to that and give you some great tips for your IELTS part 1. So this is speaking IELTS part 1, how to get a high score. You probably know that you're not going to get a 7 or an 8 just from your part 1. It's just a warm-up, but it gives the examiner a good start and it will let them really know if you're able to push on and get those higher scores. So it's a very important, as we all know, first impressions are so important. First impressions count the most. So part 1 is very, very important for the whole of your IELTS exam. So before you start the exam, and as I've said, and as I'll leave in the link below, you need to get yourself relaxed and in a good mood, a positive mood, a happy mood. Enjoy yourself is the main thing. What's the worst that can happen? You might as well just enjoy yourself. So get in a positive and happy mood. Next tip is to make sure that you arrive on time. Now, that might sound very obvious, but you know, a lot of people are not that great at arriving at places on time, especially, I've got to say, people from certain countries where you might say, well, that's African time, or that's Filipino time, or that's Indian time, because you commonly arrive late. That's not a good thing when you have your IELTS exam. You need to be there on time. Really, you do. And I have a very sad, lovely, funny story of one student from China. And usually the Chinese students, very, very good, always there on time. But he was running a little bit late, and just before he went in, he was there sort of on time, but just before he went in, desperately needed to go to the toilet. And how can I put this? Whilst he was in the toilet, somehow managed to drop his card into the toilet and lost it. And so by the time he got to the exam, he didn't have a card and he was too late. And so he had to pay for another exam. And that's expensive. You don't want to have to do that. I always arrive to everything in plenty of time. I don't want to be panicking. I don't want to be thinking, oh, will I get there? Will I get there? Checking my watch, worrying, come on, move faster, traffic, get out of the way. I don't want to be like that. I want to get there in plenty of time so I can relax. Maybe I can go and have a coffee somewhere. Just relax and get in the mood for my exam. So, and I do that for everything in my life. I don't want to be rushing. So get there plenty of time. Make sure you arrive in plenty of time. Another tip is for the week before, or the weeks before, and the day before, and on the morning. Just immerse yourself in English. Be listening to English. If it may be English podcasts that you have, it may be radio program, it may be a TV program, a film. Just immerse yourself so that English is filling your head. I remember when I was learning German many years ago, I went and stayed in Germany for 2 weeks. And by the end of that time, I was dreaming in German. And that's where you want to be. You want to fill yourself with English before you go into the exams. So spend as much time as you can listening to English speaking. You could even put my videos on. Might help. So now I'm going to look at some common topics and how to answer those topics. So with topics in the IELTS exam, there's a whole range of topics that you might come across in part 1, but it's fairly common that the same ones will come up again and again. You might talk about food, family. So if you can remember, I taught you about subordinate conjunctions, those linking words that put the parts of the sentence together and enable you to extend your sentences. And this is very important when you're doing your part 1. It's important to use them all the way through your exam. But for your part 1, you need to make sure that you'll use those subordinating conjunctions, so that those are linking words, even the but or because or however, all those little words that you can use that will extend your sentences are so important. So when you go into your part 1, you must make sure that you're fluent, because fluency is one of the key areas that they're looking for. It's 25% of the exam is about your fluency. So you've got to make sure that as you answer, you're very fluent in your answer. So don't complicate it. Keep it simple in part 1. You don't want to start using very clever words, difficult vocabulary, really complicated grammar. You don't want to go down that line, because part 1 is just the warm-up. So keep it as simple and honest as you can in the part 1. But don't just answer in one sentence or one short sentence, just one verb. You need to increase it so that your maybe 2 or 3 verbs are used in your sentence. So you need those linking words. So in part 1, it's vital to make sure that you're speaking in a fluent way. If you remember, just a word like because. So the question is, what is your favorite sport? Okay. And you could reply, my favorite sport is football. And you need to carry on that sentence. My favorite sport is football because I love playing with my friends over the park. And this is a simple linking word like and. So because I love playing with my friends over the park, and it gives me a lot of exercise. Because, and you can fill in, because I'm a little bit overweight and I need to slim down. So just by using those linking words, you find that you've given yourself a nice long sentence, which is answering. You don't need to answer anymore. Okay, you don't need to go off and start talking about anything else. Just finish it at that point. It's given you a nice long sentence that answers the first part of that question, because the examiner will then come and ask you something else. Maybe he will say, do you think that football should be taught in schools? Something, whatever the question is, he will carry on. So your job is just to get that first bit over and to do it in a fluent way. Okay, so as I said, smile, be happy, enjoy yourself, and say it in a fluent way. Add those linking words to extend your answers. Okay, so fluency is very important. And in this part one, you need to make sure that you're answering exactly what is being asked. You've got to listen to the question, answer the question. So listen very carefully and answer fluently. So don't make it too complicated. Just a few linking words, end of. Okay, so I'm going to go through a number of topics that you might come up against in the part one of the IELTS exam and give you some examples and some help on how to answer them in the very next video.